Hi, this is Arvin again. This video I will be covering the most basic utilities that you want to know on Mirage. These are probably nades that you definitely want to know for. Basically, we would assume that everyone would know when you're coming to a high level game. And I'm right now in the Mirage, and then I can make a post about how to get into this practice config later, and how to bind a jump throw, which you won't be needing for some lineups. So to begin with, we will have T side on A. So for the CT side, this is the CT smoke. This is the jungle smoke. This is the stair smoke. So these are the three basic execute smokes. So when they come out, as you can see, these very important choke line places are being locked down by the smoke. The smoke just faded. So these three are the very basic execute smokes that when people say they want to do an 8 execute, they refer to these three smokes. This is one that I think is also really important, a top con smoke. You can't see, it's here. I'm aiming at right here. This will get you a smoke for top con, which allows more variety of a playstyle you might want to do. Now we'll come to the mollie, which, like when you, let's say you do the exact smokes and you want a mollie ticket, you come right here, see this strap, and then just aim at the bottom of the strap, and you get a ticket mollie, a jump throw. Shadow mollie is here under palace. When you come out, you see the big letter A, aim just at the top of the A left row, and then you can bounce it to the top, the bottom of shadow. And then it's the garbage bin mollie, which is important because when you do the jungle smoke, what very common what CTs will do is they will try to come out of this gap, maybe with an AWP, maybe with a rifle, get a pick like this, and then run away, which is a very powerful move, and you can definitely do that. Try that too. But usually, what higher levels do is higher level players, they would mollie this one. This is called the garbage mollie, garbage bin mollie, or sometimes a bench mollie. This way, that this will prevent the CTs from doing that. And then finally, I have a really important flash. It's called the lamp flash. So just get yourself in the middle of this door, actually the left side of the door, and aim at the top of the lamp. Deploying flashbang. And this is a nice flash for anybody who's holding close aim like this, maybe angles like this. But you need to know that this flash does not work for people holding CT. I'll show you that. See, it barely blinds them, right? It only gives like a white tint to their screen for a fraction of a second. So if you want to blind CT, you might want to come back up here and then throw a flash really far away just to get the CT guy. But you know, this would also get your team if they're out here. So what you might want to do is you might want to throw the CT flash first, just to get the CT away, and then maybe someone else will throw the lamp flash, right? Just to get the lamp flash, because your teammate don't need to turn away from you. They can come out and peek angles like the site and Tetris with the lamp flash going on at the exact same time. So now we want to move to if you're playing T side, on B. So first, I think everyone knows this one. It's the market smoke. You come to this corner, top of the roof, jump throw. And then this is what, like, at least in most plays I do, this is like the only execute smoke we really throw. The cat smokes are good, but this one is very necessary. And now I'll give you two smokes that we will need when we're rushing B, right? We call them the get right, get left smoke. The first smoke you want to run towards like the left side of this wooden pole. Aim at this corner and jump throw. The second one you want to come here, crouch, and aim at the white stain, I guess, and jump throw. They're called the get right, get left smoke because this place is called get right, and these two smokes will land at the two poles. My friends also call it the McDonald's smoke because it's like the golden arches. But yeah, this block effectively blocks up cat, and we call that the get right, get left smoke, and people use it to rush B. And there's a deep cat smoke, which I like because it's a very simple lineup. The same place as the market smoke. If you aim just at the left, a little bit to the left of this height, the edge of this building, you can get yourself a nice deep cat smoke. A little slow, but this can block off maybe like operas from this angle, right? And that's all the smokes. The flashes, you only need to basically just throw them high, jump throw, or maybe even if you're running. But I think jump throws, at least you won't miss, right? Just jump throws like that, and you can get a nice flash. And usually, if you're running the, like, let's say you're rushing B or coming to an execute, the first player, you would want to throw a van mollie van off, so that people cannot stand here. The reason you want the first player to do that is because players behind their mollie might hit their teammate and then it drops in apps and then blocks everyone. Because I've had a lot of experiences where that happens. So you want the first person to do this. You know, after he cleared this angle with his gun, you know, people are rushing, and then he throws a mollie, and then the first person wants to jump out. Especially if you're rushing. Execute, you would most likely want to jump out too. Okay, that's all for B, and then for mid is, the first one is the top mid smoke. So you want to jump on top of this garbage can. It really doesn't matter if you're like strictly against the wall or just like on like the middle of the trash can. It doesn't matter too much. But aim here. For mid smoke, this top mid smoke is really like a smoke to cross for this player. Mind that when you get to here, there could be a player here, so definitely be careful of that, right? This is top mid smoke, and then it's the window smoke. Tuck here, aim here. You have to first press D and then jump throw. You know, with some practice, this will come out very easily. This is a window smoke from P-Spawn. However, you need to know that as a CT, you can do that too. Is before the smoke pops, you can throw this mollie right here, like this, and that makes the smoke. That will make the smoke miss, which I will try to demonstrate in a bit. Okay, I'll mollie it. Okay, this is a good example because in this case, look, the opera can come here and then he can hold this angle again, and then if your teammate just peeks out like this, he would be an easy target for the opera, right? So as the CTs, you can do that, and Ts, you need to be aware that this is a possibility. But one good thing is, if you're about in this area, and if they use their mollie to extinguish the smoke, kind of the opposite way around of saying that, but when they do that, you can hear from here. So this person who's around here in top mid, you really want to tell your teammates whether they whether the CT forces smoke to miss or not, because you know people might just die peeking that. So in that case, you might just want to throw a top mid smoke if you know that the CTs do that, or you could just bounce with top mid smoke around here. Okay, so that's top mid smoke and window smoke, and then window smoke from Sandbags, right? You can, if you want to do a very like safe way, you can always smoke top mid, cross the Sandbags, and then smoke window. So the way you do that is, you see how like this, you know, tuck yourself in this corner, go back, and then aim at like the top, basically just anywhere around here, and then aim at the middle of this pole and just run through. But don't run to the very end, right? Just release a little bit before you reach the very end, and you get a nice window smoke. And then you can throw a lot of smokes from Sandbags. You can throw the cat smoke. You can come to this corner, aim at the middle between these two things. It's a cat smoke. And then the top con smoke, I personally am not a big fan of this top con smoke, so I like this one more. Right, you come to top mid here, do this, and then do a jump throw. Right, jump throw, and that will be a top con smoke. And top con means like the top connector. This allows you to take con or go out cat, and then cat smoke. I just did top con smoke. So another, like, this is really complex. So if you're like an under player and you cleared con, right, you can just come up here and aim at like the top of the wall and just take a little step forward and throw, and that would get you a nice top con smoke too. Even though, yeah, that could miss, but you know, if I'm just better. Okay, there we go. I don't throw that very often, but you could do that too. It's definitely the easier way. And then the con mollie. So this is what you need to do if you're the first player coming to top mid and your team is trying to take mid, right? You want to come here, aim at the top of this, throw the mollie. This just prevents operators from taking a peek from this angle, right? Because it burns them. It's the con mollie, And then we have a... Oh, yeah. Like when you come out top mid, you even with like a top con smoke, people might have pushed down here, like with the top con, with the top mid smoke there, right, with their rifle waiting for you to cross. So it's always good to just throw a flash, even if it's bad flash. You can throw it behind, you can throw it to the other side of the sandbags. Alright, or you can just honestly just bounce it down like that. It doesn't matter, but this flash when you are trying to cross is pretty essential, especially if you're playing better players, because any of these flashes will blind them if they push, right? This flash doesn't blind people in window or con, it just blinds people who push. So it's still a good flash to throw. And then you want a con pop flash for your teammates, which from Sandbags, it's like the middle of this pole.
Deploying flashbang.
And from the place where you throw your con mollie, you can just aim down a little bit and also a pop flash. That's all for middle. And a lot of these I think is a lot more advanced than the very basic ones. So the ones you definitely want to know how to throw is with top mid and window smoke. These are the most important ones, and probably cat smoke. But those are the most important ones. Okay, now we come to CT side and CTs. And CT side, I'd say, is relatively easy because CT, you know, you can always see where you're throwing, you're trying to throw your mollies to. So a lot of these are like flashes and nades that are basically important, right? Even though they don't have too much of a lineup. And a lot of it is about positioning, and as maybe like an A or B anchor, how you want to play your side is very important to learn, rather than just simple nade lineups. But these are the most important ones you want to know when you're on playing CT side Mirage. So the first one is A main smoke, because A main smoke is you might miss it, right? So coming on a spawn, you want to tuck yourself in this corner. It's called Rob. This corner is called Robs, by the way. And then aim at about like 2/3 towards these two chimneys, and then maybe roll down, and you get a nice A main smoke. I don't know if this one has a gap. Okay, it looks like it has a gap, but it actually doesn't. So I was just curious. And then a main mollie. So usually a main mollie, you can just bounce like that, right? But see, like with a mollie like this, an upper might still come in and get a pick. So usually you want your mollie to bounce perfectly around here, so that the mollie will obscure its vision, right? Their vision. So you want to come here, aim at the top of the roof of the red building, like here, and run through. Okay, it's still not perfect, but oh my god, like that. Okay, now it's better. Oh, sorry guys. And then as if you're the con player, right? You might do this mollie for your A anchor friend, or he can do it too. But as a con player, you must do this flash. This flash just prevents the top mid T's from pushing it at the first time, like at the fastest time possible, right? It blinds them and it stops them. And also, like if your team wants to push, like if they're here, this flash is what you can throw. I'll show you the trajectory again. Like if you're here, the flash pops behind you and above you, and then you can peek with that flash. So the flash is good to throw at the beginning of the round, and then later when con player is in con, and then they want to push, you as the A anchor, you could throw this flash, right? You want to aim approximately up, around this line, running and jumping. And then it's the top mid flash, and then if you're playing con, you just need to know always, like, because they can peek you from above and under, so it's always just good to throw this one, just to bounce it at the bottom of your feet. So what this does is, it doesn't really create a one-way like this, right? Because you're still pretty exposed. But what it does is, as a team, they don't really want to peek like this, because this for you is a little bit of a one-way, and you could be standing in the middle of stairs holding it like this. So it's just that this obscures where exactly you're standing in con, and it obscures their vision a little bit. So usually when T see this smoke, they would be very, very afraid of con. So you definitely want to drop the smoke when you're playing your game as the con player, and it just helps to stall time, right, for the T's, because they will be afraid of the smoke. But you know, if you see maybe their smoke's coming in, you might want to back off too. And then it's B. So I'd say in lower levels, what I see people do is just they just throw a molly in the beginning of the round, which is fine. Like pros do it too. But personally, what I would do is I would let the cat player play around here to listen for if they are rushing, and then you on the B side. If they are rushing, you know, you can drop your molly, or maybe you can drop it where they're jumping off if they're too close. But here's a lineup for B smokes. Coming to the garbage bin, see this dark stain, and then you just move a little left to the left of the stain. Just, left click throw. And then molly, there's not too much lineup. You can just throw it like this in the beginning of the round. But the important thing is that you need to remember to molly that. And then as the B anchor, if they rush, this is a very nice smoke to protect yourself. Because with this smoke, they can only peek you from the middle of the side, which makes them prone to cat and maybe market, right? Or if they want to peek you from here, they're prone to cat again, market, and then they want to peek you like this. Which means for this case, you can play the smoke around here, or you can just play the bench, which gives you a great cover and just gives you a better angle, right? And what it really does is it just eliminates an angle for the T's to come. But do beware that they could jump on top of the van. Very bold, but they could do that, right? Also, this smoke, you can also jump up the van yourself, right? It's a very versatile smoke, but it's just important to drop these kind of smokes to protect yourself when they're rushing. It's more about positioning when you're on the B anchor, and your smoke, if you're going to push B apps, you are probably going to use it to throw the top B apps push smoke, which I won't actually show you here. But your utils as the B anchor is really to be used to stop their B execute, right? You want to, like, when they're executing and when the T's are already here, you definitely don't want to throw a smoke like this, because this doesn't stop them, right? This doesn't stop them. They can still jump out the window, or they can just, with their teammates flash, they can just jump out, right? The smoke like that doesn't help at all. So dropping a smoke around yourself and use it to protect yourself is going to be a lot better. And the molly, you want to like molly where they would jump off, and not like when the T's are literally like here, and then you throw a molly like right under them, right? Because they're not, and then you throw your molly here, because they're going to be moving along with the molly, along with like their people. So you want to throw the molly like here when they're coming to approach you, because this way they actually take damage. And also when they are rushing B or something, some guy would probably just prepare for a smoke to extinguish and then jump out. It all happens very fast, so as B anchor you have to be careful. So yeah, that's it for the video. It's all very, very basic stuff. If for like more complex, and especially if you're playing with a team, you know, you might want to develop your own lineups and just necessary nades for your tactics. So that, yeah, I might make more videos about just more complex like executes or tactics. Like for example, if your team wants to do like a fast short push, right? What kind of smokes and flashes and mollies do you need for this, right? It's a very specific tactic, which, you know, maybe you're going to use 1 or 2 rounds out of your 15 rounds on T side. So it's very unspecific. But the util in this video, you can use, I don't know, like 10 rounds or maybe every round. Right? So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.